Have you ever stopped to think about this? What if the key to transforming your life lies in doing the exact opposite of what you've been taught? We're often told that being endlessly available, always there to help, to listen, to fix, is the golden ticket to connection and value. But here's the amazing paradox. When you unexpectedly pull back, when you stop being the one who's always on call, something incredible happens. Everything changes, and not in the way you might fear, but for the better. It's like flipping a switch you didn't even know existed. This sudden shift doesn't just catch people off guard. It sends a jolt through the entire web of relationships and routines that have come to depend on your constant presence. The ground beneath everyone shifts, and suddenly, the game is different. But why? What makes this unexpected withdrawal so powerful? Today, we're unraveling this mystery, and we're doing it with the wisdom of Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology. This isn't just a quirky life hack, it's a window into the deepest truths of the human psyche. By the time we're done, you'll see exactly why stepping back can set you free, and how this one paradoxical move can ripple out to reshape your world. So let's dive in, because the secret to reclaiming your energy, your boundaries, and your true self might just be hiding in the last place you'd expect. If you have family, close friends, or loved ones who often ask for your help, but in turn are always ready to support you when you need it, who are genuinely there for you with sincerity and kindness, then you should always help them without hesitation. However, if people constantly take advantage of you, only coming to you when they need something and failing to truly appreciate your efforts, then it's time to protect yourself. Your energy and kindness deserve to be reciprocated, not exploited. The always-on trap, your silent prison. Imagine this. Your phone buzzes and you instinctively reach for it. A friend is calling with another problem and you drop everything to listen, even if it's the 5th call this week. At work, you're the one who always says yes to that extra task, even when your plate is already overflowing. You're that person everyone relies on, dependable, ready to help, always connected. Sounds commendable, right? Being so caring, so selfless, so available. But dig a little deeper, and it's not just a habit. It's a silent prison you've built for yourself, brick by brick, without even realizing it. Being always available is more than just being physically present. It's a state of being emotionally, physically, and psychologically on call. You're ready to listen, support, or solve someone else's problem at a moment's notice. Your day might kick off with a text from a coworker needing urgent help, and wrap up with a late-night call from a friend who's just used to you always being there. The thought of turning off your phone, even for a few hours, fills you with guilt. Taking a break feels like an indulgence you haven't earned. Think of yourself as a lighthouse. You shine relentlessly, guiding others to shore, but you yourself remain stuck in one place. Your light burns day and night, but eventually your batteries run down. You're so focused on being a beacon for everyone else that you forget to recharge your own light. Emotionally, you're drained. Physically, you're exhausted. And psychologically, you feel like you don't even have the right to say, enough. What does this look like in daily life? Here are a few scenarios that might hit close to home. Maybe you're that friend who's always the sounding board for everyone else's problems, but you rarely share your own. Or the coworker who takes on every new project, even if it means working late into the night, just to be seen as a team player. These aren't specific stories, but common roles we often slip into without a second thought. You say yes when every fiber of your being wants to scream no. You reply to texts when all you crave is a moment of peace and quiet. You take on more than you can possibly handle because you're terrified of being seen as uncaring, unhelpful, or selfish. But with every yes, you're giving away a small piece of yourself until one day you look inside and find nothing but emptiness. Why is this a trap? On the surface, being constantly available looks like a virtue. You get praised. You're such a lifesaver. Or, what would I do without you? But over time, that praise starts to feel like a heavy weight. You begin to feel taken for granted. People get so used to you being always on that they stop seeing you, the person with your own needs, desires, and limits. You become a convenient resource, a human app, easily accessible, but ultimately invisible. This exhaustion creeps in silently. You might not even notice as you gradually lose touch with yourself, your own wants, your boundaries, your need for rest. Imagine a pitcher of water. You're constantly pouring from it to fill everyone else's glass, but no one thinks to refill your pitcher. Sooner or later, it runs dry. Yet the requests for just one more glass keep coming. You feel tired, irritable, maybe even resentful, but you just can't seem to stop pouring. How does this affect you? Ask yourself, when was the last time you said no to someone without feeling a crushing wave of guilt? When did you last take a day completely for yourself without checking in to make sure everyone else was okay? If the answer is, I can't remember, that's a red flag. You're likely caught in this trap. This always-on persona starts to erode your identity. You might even start to wonder, who am I if I'm not the one who's always helping? Your own needs get pushed to the back burner, and that feeling of being used can become a constant companion. This prison is silent because its walls are invisible. You don't feel physical chains, but they're there, forged from expectations, both yours and others, ingrained habits, and the fear of letting people down. And what's toughest is that society often reinforces this. Being always connected and super responsive is often lauded as the right way to be. But the truth is, this so-called virtue can hold you captive, draining your freedom and your energy. The first step to breaking free. To escape this prison, you first have to recognize that you're in it. Take an honest look at your life. Are there moments or even whole days when you feel utterly drained by other people's demands? Do you often hesitate to say no because you're worried about what others will think? This trap doesn't disappear on its own. But acknowledging it, truly seeing it for what it is the crucial first step. Next, we'll explore why we fall into this pattern and, more importantly, how to start finding your way. Magic of the unexpected shift. When the game changes. Picture this. You've always been the person who replies to texts instantly, the one who says yes to every request, the friend who jumps in to solve everyone's problems. But then one day, something clicks. You get a message asking for yet another favor, and instead of rushing to respond, you pause. You don't answer right away. Maybe you even say no for once. Or in the middle of a tense argument, you choose silence over your usual role as the fixer. It's a tiny move, but it's a game changer. You've just stepped off the treadmill of constant availability, and the world around you feels the shift. This moment, the unexpected shift, is where the magic begins. It's like yanking the kept plug on a machine that's been running on autopilot. People who've counted on you to always be there, to always give in, suddenly find themselves off balance. They've been playing a game with rules they wrote, expecting you to follow along. But when you stop, it's as if the board flips mid-match. They're left scrambling, unsure of their next move. The break in the pattern. Think about the people who feed off your reliability, the friend who unloads every crisis on you, the co-worker who piles on extra tasks because you never refuse. They've got a script, and you're the star who always delivers your lines. But when you go off script, when you don't reply instantly, when you decline, when you let the silence hang, it throws them into chaos. Their usual tricks, like guilt or pressure, don't land anymore because you've stopped playing your part. Imagine this. Your phone buzzes with a text from a friend who always needs something. Normally, you'd reply in seconds, but this time, you set it aside. They send another message, maybe a hello, to nudge you. Or picture a boss who expects you to take on extra work. When you say, "Sorry, I can't this time," their jaw drops. They're not used to hearing that from you. These small acts of unavailability shatter their expectations, forcing them to rethink how they approach you. The ripple of disruption. This shift doesn't just rattle the manipulators or energy takers. It sends shock waves through everyone around you. When you stop being the predictable yes person, it creates a crisis of sorts. People start to wonder, why isn't she responding? Did I push him too far? What's going on? Those who've relied on your constant presence feel the ground shift beneath them. They're uncomfortable because they can't control or predict you anymore. This discomfort is a sign that the old dynamic is breaking apart. It's like tossing a stone into a still pond. The ripples spread, unsettling everything. The friend who depended on your instant replies might get frustrated. The colleague who leaned on your availability might have to figure things out alone. And in that unease, something new takes shape. A space where your boundaries hold weight, where your energy isn't up for grabs. The power of the pause. Here's the beauty of it. This unexpected shift isn't about being rude or shutting people out. It's about reclaiming your power in a way they never saw coming. When you stop jumping at every demand, you rewrite the rules. Some will adapt and respect your new stance. Others might push back, exposing how much they took you for granted. Either way, you're no longer the default fix. It's a revelation of who's really in your corner. So next time you feel that pull to respond, to agree, to step in, pause. That pause is your strength. It's the spark that changes the game, proving that stepping back can move you forward. Carl Jung's perspective, decoding the paradox. Through Jung's lens, we'll unpack key concepts like the persona, psychic energy, projection, the shadow, and individuation, revealing why stepping back can lead to profound growth. Now, let's step into the mind of Carl Jung, one of history's most brilliant psychologists, to unravel this intriguing paradox. Why does becoming less available, pulling back from the constant demands of others, ignite such a powerful transformation? Jung's ideas show us it's not merely about setting boundaries. It's about rediscovering your authentic self and reshaping the dynamics around you. Let's dive into his key concepts to see how this works. The persona, the mask. We all wear a mask. Jung called it the persona. It's the version of ourselves we present to the world, crafted to fit in, win approval, or feel loved. When you're always available, always the one who answers the call, solves the problem, or says yes, you're often living through this mask. You become the reliable friend, the indispensable colleague, the ever-present support. But here's the twist. That's not necessarily you. It's a role built from what others expect and what you think you need to be. The paradox shines when you step away from that role. By being less available, you begin to shed this mask. It might feel strange. Others might even push back. But Jung would argue it's a bold move toward authenticity, a chance to live as your real self, not just the character you've been playing. Psychic energy. Jung saw our mental and emotional capacity as a limited resource. He called it psychic energy. Picture it like a battery. Every time you're overly available, you're draining it, handing out pieces of yourself to every request, every text, every demand. Before long, you're running on empty, with little left for your own dreams or well-being. But when you choose unavailability, you flip the script. You stop the drain and start recharging, saving that energy for what truly lights you up. Your passions, your purpose, your growth. It's not about shutting people out. It's about being intentional, like saving water for the plants that need it most. Jung would say this conservation is essential for a balanced, vibrant life. Projection. Here's where things get really interesting. When you're always there for others, they start projecting onto you their needs, their expectations, even their unresolved baggage. You become their crutch, their mirror, reflecting back what they want to see. But when you pull back unexpectedly, that mirror cracks. They can't lean on you anymore, and suddenly they're forced to face themselves, to deal with their own emotions and challenges. Jung famously said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Your unavailability doesn't just shield you, it becomes a catalyst, nudging others toward their own self-awareness. It's a ripple effect of growth, sparked by your single choice, the shadow, if relevant. Stepping back might also stir something deeper within you, what Jung called the shadow. This is the hidden side of yourself, the parts you'd rather not admit to. Maybe the fear of being disliked, the guilt of saying no, or the anxiety of letting someone down. When you stop bending over backwards to please everyone, these shadows can creep up. It's unsettling, sure, but Jung saw this as a golden opportunity. Facing your shadow, those buried fears or insecurities, isn't a setback. It's a breakthrough. By embracing this discomfort, you grow stronger, more whole. Your unavailability becomes a mirror for your own soul, not just others. Individuation. Finally, we arrive at individuation, Jung's ultimate goal for us all. It's the process of becoming your truest, most unique self, weaving together every piece of who you are, not just the bits that keep others happy. Being consciously unavailable isn't about pushing people away. It's about pulling yourself together. It's a declaration. My path matters too. Far from selfishness, this is self-respect, a way to carve out space for your own journey. Jung believed this was how we become whole, not by scattering ourselves across everyone else's needs, but by focusing inward and stepping into our own power. Unavailability, then, is a sacred step toward that wholeness. The world's reaction, a mirror for others. When you start saying no, or simply stop being the ever-available friend, colleague, or family member, the shift doesn't go unnoticed. People react, and those reactions peel back layers of truth about who they are and what they wanted from you. Some get irritated, like a friend who's used to your instant replies and bristles when you take hours to respond. "Why are you ignoring me?" they might snap, as if your time was always theirs to claim. Others turn to blame or guilt-tripping. "You used to drop everything for me. What's changed?" Their words dripping with accusation, trying to tug you back into old habits. Then there are those who panic, floundering without your steady presence to lean on. When you become unavailable, who really loses their footing? These responses aren't random. They're a window into the motives and dependencies that thrived on your past behavior. That friend who sulks over a delayed text? Maybe they relied on you to fill their silences. The family member who guilt-trips you for not fixing their latest mess? They might have counted on you to carry what they wouldn't. Irritation often signals entitlement. Blame can hint at laziness or avoidance. Panic reveals just how much they needed you to prop them up. It's not about you letting them down. It's about them facing what they've avoided all along. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Apply that here. When your unavailability stirs frustration or desperation in someone, it's a chance for them to look inward. Why does your no unsettle them so much? Maybe they've been coasting on your reliability, sidestepping their own responsibilities or insecurities. Your change holds up a mirror, and what they see might not be comfortable, but it's real. Yet not every reaction is negative. Some might pause and say, "I get it. You need your space," or even, "Good for you." These are the ones who see you, not just what you do for them. The contrast is striking. Irritation and guilt-tripping expose dependence, while respect reveals genuine care. Stepping back doesn't just reclaim your time. It lights up the truth of your relationships, showing who's been holding on for dear life and who's willing to stand on their own. I want to repeat once again. If you have family, close friends, or loved ones who often ask for your help, but in turn are always ready to support you when you need it, who are genuinely there for you with sincerity and kindness, then you should always help them without hesitation. However, if people constantly take advantage of you, only coming to you when they need something and failing to truly appreciate your efforts, then it's time to protect yourself. Your energy and kindness deserve to be reciprocated, not exploited. The power of silence and conscious withdrawal. Now that we've explored how people scramble when you're not at their beck and call, let's dive into the tools that fuel this shift. Silence and conscious withdrawal. These aren't about shrinking away or giving up. They're bold, deliberate moves that flip the script. When you opt for silence instead of a knee-jerk reaction, or step back instead of leaping in, you're not dodging life. You're mastering it. Picture a chess grandmaster pausing, not out of doubt, but to read the board with unshakable focus. That stillness, it's your strength. Silence, the quiet force. Silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's a presence, a choice brimming with power. We live in a culture obsessed with instant responses and endless noise, so staying silent can feel like a rebellion. But it's not weakness, It's wisdom and self-control in action. When someone's trying to drag you into a fight or guilt trip you into bending over backwards, silence cuts their momentum cold. Imagine this. They're hurling accusations, fishing for a reaction. You don't bite. You let the quiet settle in. Their words echo back to them unanswered, and suddenly they're the ones off balance. That's not retreat, that's reclaiming the upper hand. Withdrawal, stepping back to move forward. Withdrawal often gets mistaken for running away, but it's not escape, it's strategy. Think of it like a warrior pulling back from the fray, not to flee, but to survey the chaos and pick their moment. When you withdraw, you're guarding your energy, saving it for what truly counts. It's like shutting off a faucet that's been draining you dry. Why waste your reserves on every little tug when you can channel them into your own path? This isn't about hiding, it's about clarity. Stepping back gives you room to think, to reset, to figure out what deserves your focus. And in that space, you grow stronger. Shutting down manipulation. Manipulators love a predictable reaction. They poke and prod, banking on you to hand over your attention or cave to their pressure. But silence and a delayed response, they unravel that game entirely. Picture someone stirring up drama, expecting you to dive in and play savior. Instead, you stay silent. You don't feed the fire with a single word, or maybe you say, "I'll get back to you," and walk away. Now what? They're stuck. No fuel, no leverage. Your refusal to engage forces them to sit with their own mess. It's not passive. It's a power move that breaks their cycle and hands you the reins. Silence and withdrawal aren't about shutting down. They're about opening up. They're tough to wield at first. Old habits die hard, but they carve out space for clarity, peace, and connections that don't thrive on drama. These are active choices, tools for anyone ready to take charge of their energy and their life. Internal transformation, the birth of a new self. As you lean into the power of silence and conscious withdrawal, something remarkable begins to stir within you. By stepping back from the endless demands of others, you're not just reclaiming your time, you're reclaiming yourself. This isn't about shutting the world out. It's about opening a door to a deeper, truer version of you. What happens when you finally guard your energy and carve out space for your own needs? You spark an internal transformation, a quiet revolution that reshapes how you see yourself and your place in the world, reclaiming your inner world. When you stop pouring your energy into every call, text, or crisis, you create a reservoir, a wellspring of strength that's yours to nurture. At first, it might feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable to prioritize yourself. But as you do, you notice a shift, a growing sense of self-respect. You're no longer the person who bends over backwards to please everyone only to feel drained and overlooked. Instead, you're someone who values their own worth, who knows their time and heart are precious. This newfound respect becomes a foundation, steadying you in ways you never expected. With this comes clearer boundaries. You start saying no without a knot in your stomach, or you take a day for yourself without apologizing. These aren't walls to keep others out. They're gates, letting you decide who and what deserves your energy. In this space, a quiet peace takes root, not the fleeting relief of pleasing someone else, but a deeper calm, a sense of control over your own life. It's like stepping into a room that's always been yours, but you'd forgotten how to enter. rediscovering what's been buried. As you guard your energy, something else emerges, your own desires, needs, and goals, long buried under the weight of others' expectations. Maybe you realize you've always wanted to write, to travel, or to simply sit with a book without guilt. These aren't selfish whims. They're pieces of you waiting to be claimed. For so long, you might have defined yourself by what you did for others. But now, you're uncovering who you are when no one's asking for anything. It's like finding an old journal, its pages filled with dreams you'd set aside. Now, you have the space to bring them to life, the paradox revealed. Here's where the paradox truly shines. You might have braced for the worst when you started pulling back, expecting loneliness, rejection, or judgment. If I'm not always there, will people still care? But instead of isolation, you find something far richer, yourself. By honoring your boundaries, you draw a different kind of respect, not just from within, but often from others. New, healthier connections may emerge with people who value you for who you are, not what you do for them. Where you feared loss, you discover freedom, the freedom to live on your terms, to be authentic, to feel whole. This transformation isn't loud or flashy. It's a quiet rebirth, a new you stepping forward with clarity and strength. The paradox is clear. By giving less to the world's endless demands, you gain more. More peace, more purpose, more of the life you were meant to live. Practical steps for conscious unavailability. You've just uncovered the profound shift that happens when you reclaim your energy and step into your authentic self. It's a powerful realization, but how do you actually start living it? How do you practice conscious unavailability without feeling like you're letting everyone down or wrestling with guilt? The good news is, you don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Small, intentional steps can gently ease you into this new way of being, building your confidence and strength along the way. Let's explore a few practical tips to help you begin, designed to feel manageable and empowering. Start with a pause. One of the simplest ways to practice conscious unavailability is to stop reacting instantly. The next time your phone buzzes with a text or someone asks for a favor, don't rush to respond. Give yourself permission to pause. Let the message sit for an hour or even a day, if it's not urgent. This isn't about ignoring people. It's about giving yourself space to decide what deserves your attention. That brief delay can feel like a breath of fresh air, helping you break the habit of being always on. If guilt creeps in, remind yourself, you're not obligated to be everyone's instant lifeline. Your time is yours to manage. Take time before saying yes. How often do you agree to something out of reflex only to regret it later? Here's a game changer. Before committing to any request, whether it's picking up an extra task at work or helping a friend, give yourself a moment to think. Try saying, "Let me get back to you," and then check in with yourself. Ask, do I have the energy for this? Does it align with my priorities? This small habit builds a buffer, letting you choose what's worth your effort. It's not about being selfish, it's about being intentional. You'll be amazed at how much clearer your decisions become when you stop autopiloting into yes. Set micro boundaries. Boundaries don't have to be grand declarations. Start tiny. For example, carve out an hour each day where you're offline. No texts, no emails, just you and whatever recharges you, like reading, journaling, or even staring out a window. Or, if someone calls with a non-urgent issue, try responding with, "I'm tied up right now, can we talk later?" These micro boundaries signal to others and yourself that your space matters. If you worry about seeming distant, know this: most people adjust quickly, and those who don't might be the ones who needed your constant availability most. That's their lesson, not your burden. Reframe guilt as growth. Guilt is the biggest hurdle when you start pulling back. It whispers that you're letting people down or being unkind. But here's a reframe: that discomfort is a sign you're growing. You're challenging old patterns, stepping out of the role of the ever-available fixer. When guilt hits, take a deep breath and tell yourself, "I'm learning to value myself, and that's okay." Over time, this feeling fades, replaced by a quiet confidence in your choices. You're not abandoning anyone. You're showing up for yourself, which makes you stronger for everyone else. These steps are like planting seeds. They're small, but with consistency, they grow into a life where your energy, time, and peace are yours to cherish. Try one today and see how it feels to take that first step toward conscious unavailability. Conclusion: a call to courage and self-respect. As you begin to weave these small acts of conscious unavailability into your life, pausing before responding, setting gentle boundaries, choosing silence over reaction, you're not just changing habits, you're unlocking a profound truth, one that Carl Jung's wisdom has illuminated for us. This journey has revealed an amazing paradox. By giving less of yourself indiscriminately, you gain so much more. Let's wrap up by reflecting on this truth, summoning the courage to embrace it, and daring to step into the life you deserve. The paradox unveiled. Think back to where we started. The idea that pulling back, becoming less available, could transform your world. It sounds counterintuitive. Shouldn't giving more make us feel valued? Yet the opposite holds true. When you stop being everyone's instant fix, you reclaim your energy, your time, your sense of self. You trade exhaustion for vitality, blurred boundaries for clarity, and the weight of others' expectations for a deep well of self-respect. This isn't about closing doors. It's about opening ones that lead to your own growth, to relationships that honor you, to a life where you're not just a supporting actor, but the star of your own story. This paradox flips everything you've been taught. Society tells us to be endlessly available, to say yes, to prove our worth. But Jung showed us that true strength lies in authenticity, in shedding the mask, guarding your psychic energy, and walking the path of individuation. By giving less to those who take without giving back, you gain more. More peace, more purpose, more of the person you were always meant to be. And here's the unexpected gift. As you honor your own boundaries, you often earn respect, not just from yourself, but from others who see your newfound strength. New connections, healthier ones, may bloom, drawn to the real you, not the role you used to play. A call to courage. Now, it's your turn. This paradox isn't just a theory, it's an experiment waiting for you to try. It takes courage to be misunderstood, to risk the raised eyebrows or the guilt trips that might come when you prioritize yourself. But that courage is the key to your freedom. Start small. Let a text sit unanswered for an hour. Say, "I'll think about it," instead of "yes," or take a quiet evening just for you. These are not selfish acts. They're acts of self-respect. Tiny rebellions against a world that demands your constant availability. Each step builds a stronger, truer you. And with every choice to pull back, you'll feel the weight lift, the clarity grow, the possibilities expand. You might worry about loneliness or judgment, but here's the secret. The people who matter will stay, and those who don't will reveal themselves. You're not losing, you're gaining the space to live authentically. So dare to be a little less available, dare to be a little less predictable, dare to be wholly, unapologetically you. The world will adjust, and you'll discover a strength you never knew you had. A final question. Let me leave you with this. Are you ready to embrace this amazing paradox and see what happens when you unexpectedly reclaim yourself? What might unfold if you choose your energy, your peace, your path over the endless demands of others? This is your invitation to find out, to step into the unknown and discover the freedom waiting on the other side. As Carl Jung so beautifully put it, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. So go claim that privilege. Be bold, be you, and let the paradox work its magic. If this resonates with you, drop a comment below. Share your story or your first step toward conscious unavailability. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights to fuel your journey. Here's to courage, to self-respect, and to the incredible transformation that awaits.